I'd like to say good afternoon to everyone. We could call Prattville Planning Commission to order. Madam Secretary, would you call roll, please?
Mayor Gillespie.
Here.
Councilman Bowles.
Here.
Chairman Gardner.
Here.
Vice Chair McAuley. Here. Chief Johnson. Ms. Carpenter. Mr. Hall. Mr. Nelson. Here. And Mr. Smith.
Here. Thank you. Let the record show that we do have a quorum. And at this time, we got election of officers.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to nominate Mr. Tim Smith to be the chairman.
Thank you, Mr. McCauley. Is there anyone else? Is there anyone like to be nominated? If not, we'll close the nomination. All in favor of Mr. Smith being the chairperson, let it be known by raising the right hand. All opposed, like sign.
Got you.
Mr. Chairman, would you please assume your role?
Sit right there. We got a place right here for you, Ms. Hall. I take it we need to continue. Yeah. We need a vice chairman.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to nominate Mr. Reuben Gardner to be vice chairman.
Second. Second from the mayor. Do we have any other nominations for vice chairman? We'll close the nominations. All in favor of Mr. Gardner? Signify by raising right hand. All opposed, like sign. Oh, we have a vice chairman.
Thank you.
Okay.
Can I, Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
can I make
Thanks, too close to him.
a motion that the council make a resolution to thank Mr. Gardner for his many years of being chair? I don't have any idea how many years it is now, but just we as a commission say thank you to Mr. Gardner.
Thank you. I'm in agreement. All right, our first thing has been removed. So, as you can see, we will go on to, I take it, the third. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. We have the minutes from our last meeting. Has everybody reviewed those?
Move they be approved.
All right, we have a motion for the minutes to be approved. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All those in favor? Signify. We are good. Next thing, we got the election and the minutes and no old business, the new business. We going down to number 3, I believe. Is that correct?
Mr. Chair, if we could, the just so that it's on the record and certainly made aware to folks that might watch this meeting on the internet. You had a request. Number 1 was rezoning from R3 to R5, and then you had a request for a modification to the sketch plan for the Oaks of Buena Vista.
Yes.
Just so that you're aware and commissioners are aware that the applicant for both of those items, 1 and 2, the Oaks of Buena Vista LLC had requested that their rezoning and their sketch plan revision be withdrawn. And you have a copy of that letter behind tab number 1. Just so that is formally taken off your agenda and not left there for future meetings. If somebody could make a motion to remove those and vote on that, I'd sure appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
I make that motion that we
Motion to remove the, what do we call it? The rezoning request for the Oaks of Buena Vista. There's a motion, and is there a second?
A second.
And the sketch plan. And sketch plan from Mr. Nelson. All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. All right, any opposed? Motion carries. So we have removed that. Now we move on to, I take it, the third tab. Mr. McCauley, can you read that in?
It's resolution preliminary plat, Watauga Creek District Substation Plat 1, January 16, 2014. Whereas Michael Vaughn is the owner of Watauga Creek District Substation Plat Number 1, and whereas the proposed development is located inside the city limits at Southwest 4th Street and Gin Chop Hill Road, and whereas the public hearing for the proposed development was heard on January 16, 2014, and whereas the city departments have reviewed and commented on the proposed preliminary plat, now therefore be it resolved that the City of Prattville Planning Commission hereby gives its favorable review of the submitted preliminary plat of Watauga Creek District Substation Plat Number 1. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
I second it.
And there's a motion and a second. All right.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
if we will not, we can have a public hearing for
We have to have a public
item
hearing
number
for that.
3.
All right. We will open up the public hearing for item number 3. All those that want to speak in favor of the said,
Yeah, okay.
come up and if you'd register with our secretary.
Good afternoon. I'm Bart Carr with Carr & Associates Engineers. We're the surveyors for the project, and basically what we're doing is Alabama Power is in the process of purchasing these properties from Mr. Vaughn, and we are combining all the properties into one parcel. And it is made up of it's a vacant piece of property. It's made up of one property that's a meets and bounds, and the others are part of the, I believe it's called the Old Yarborough subdivision. I'll entertain any questions.
What are you going to do with it?
They do plan to put a substation there.
Substation?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, if I may. Is that going to be in the cleared area, or are you going to leave the trees where they are? Or are you going to utilize the whole area that's in line?
All we're doing is putting the land together. As far as specifics of the design, I'm not aware of what exactly they're planning on doing there. The bottom part of the property that's flat is already cleared. I don't know exactly what they're planning to do with the what I would call the panhandle that goes up the hill.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Is this zoned for this type?
Mr. Duke.
Mr. Hall, I can address that. The property is zoned, just basically a good rule of thumb there. Half of it is zoned B2, the short piece or the
Flat part, the flat
right, it's
part.
B2 is business. The other part is zoned R3. The electric substation or distribution station is a use on appeal in both of those districts, and it has excuse me, it's been before the Board of Zoning Adjustment. It was before them this past Tuesday and was approved by that board with some conditions on its location, its screening, and the design of the substation. So it has been approved by the board, and therefore it is properly zoned.
Well, personally, I'd rather see a dollar store or a CVS drugstore there. We need more of those. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Is there anyone else?
I have a question actually from Mr. Well, I guess we need to wait for when this Mr. Duke Print comes up with his, at his time. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Is there anybody else that wants to speak for or against? Then I will close the public hearing. Thank you, sir. Now, would you, the public hearing is closed? Oh, yeah, the report from Mr. Duke. Thank you.
And in fact, my previous comments just about covered most of my report, but
Yes, sir.
again, the property is zoned B2 R3. Basically, consolidation of these lots is what's being requested, and the consolidation of the lots would be appropriate regardless of what the proposed use is on this property. So the consolidation is really just a housekeeping matter, so that it's already under common ownership. It needed to be pulled together, and it would have been a replat if it were not for the fact that a portion of this has never been platted. Again, the zoning has been addressed by the Board of Zoning Adjustment, and they've seen fit to approve the substation use on this property. Be glad to answer any questions, Mayor, if you had one.
Yes, I just want you to, the neighbors have been contacted, right?
Neighbors have been contacted both for this approval. They would have received actually 2 notifications. They would have received one about the subdivision,
Okay.
and they received one about the Board of Adjustment hearing.
And can you go over, I guess, some of the, I guess, the buffer that's going to be between the residents, but then also the buffer between the streets
Sure.
to help cover this substation?
I'll just deal with the west side first. There is a requirement in the city's zoning ordinance that there be a 20-foot landscape buffer between this type of use and a residential use. That has been provided. There's some layout on this lot that's going to have to be adjusted based on the Board of Adjustment's approval. Certainly there's vegetation along the frontage. There was some discussion by the Board of Adjustment about the type of vegetation Alabama Power proposes, crepe myrtles, and we're probably going to look at something that has a little bit greater height, maybe a little bit of evergreen more than a deciduous tree. The desire of the Board of Adjustment was to recognize the fact that these facilities are necessary and that this location is a confluence of 2 transmission lines, and that is a good location for Alabama Power and therefore for the city. But as Mr. Hall alluded to, it might not be the most, I believe somebody from Alabama Power said the other day they've really never seen a very attractive substation, but this will be as attractive as they could make it. So, and again, those final plans have not really been, based on the meeting the other night, there's going to be some changes to what they propose.
Go ahead.
Finish my finish-up question, I guess. But then there again, I guess what we're voting on today is not anything really to do with the substation,
No, sir.
but it's strictly about combining of the properties.
Consolidation.
And whether this is voted up or down by this body has no real bearing on the substation coming in. Maybe the location of how it gets centered on the lot, maybe? Is that?
If I may, if they don't consolidate it, I'm not sure that you all would issue a building permit.
That's yeah, that's an accurate statement on the part of Mr. Carr. It does need to be consolidated to meet the requirements of the city's ordinance for the building permit. We don't allow for building across property lines. See if I can put it a different way. Regardless of what the proposed use is, there's nothing from a subdivision standpoint to, other than maybe a delay looking for some other kind of consideration. There's no sound basis for not consolidating the lots. Okay, if this is a proper consolidation of the property. Be glad to answer any other questions you've got on that.
Have we, of course, they basically can do what they want to with their substations, but the one next to the fire department, since they're building this one, is there any chance that they might consider moving that one and freeing up some of that property in town?
That is a statement that I have made to the representatives of Alabama Power. It was discussed somewhat with the Board of Adjustment, but it was not part of their approval. But that would be an aim, in my opinion. This property provides a little more space. The enclosure that they're proposing before the Board of Adjustment allows for a second bank, another substation unit, so to speak, complete unit could go on that location. So I would like to see, and it should be an aim of getting that one away from the fire station. That's a landlocked location. They don't have much room to expand, and frankly, there are better uses in that location for that property. So I think that's where we would like to head, but that was not a part of the approval by the Board of Adjustment the other day. Not sure if that answers your question or not, but
I didn't know there was a way to encourage that. But
there are certain discussions that we will continue to have with Alabama Power.
Mr. Chairman, I have a comment.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
the reason I said what I did, 82 and bypass, 82 bypass and 14, that's an eyesore out there where that water pump station there. So that was the first thing that went in out there before anything else. That was the first one. But that's an eyesore, and I'm concerned about eyesores on entrances to Prattville. Gateway to the south, northwest, just come right by there. And we're doing good on what we're doing out there now. It's looking great. But that is an eyesore. I'm concerned about putting one somewhere else, an eyesore. I'm convinced it's going to be all right.
Sure.
I wish we could get them to string that thing in out there, but it's actually the fact now,
Talking about the wellhead?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Yes, Mr. Nelson.
Joel, I'm just a little bit confused. Why did this go to the Board of Adjustments before it did us?
Yes, sir. The zoning ordinance classifies this type of use as a use on appeal, okay? And as a use on appeal, it is a use that through the process over the years, the city council, not necessarily this city council, but adoption of the ordinance, has determined that that's a use that is necessary, let's call it that, like a wellhead or a sewage treatment pump station, something of that nature that's necessary for that district, but needs to be considered on a case-by-case basis. So it's listed as a use on appeal, and that goes to the Board of Adjustment. So it's not really a rezoning, it's just a look at that specific use for that specific location. And if the board did not feel like it was appropriate for that, they could have turned it down. But the reason, ordinarily that wouldn't come before you at all. The only reason that this one is before you right now is because they need to consolidate the property.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Joe,
Any other? Yes,
how
go ahead.
much property is out there? How much we talking about in acreage, Joe?
The survey listed is 4.7 acres. Yeah. Mr. Hall, if I could get you to turn your mic on when you're asking a question, they'll chastise me later about the video not being.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. Appreciate it.
As well. Any other questions? Comments?
No, I don't have anything.
Do I have a motion to vote on?
You already have.
Just call for the question.
Call for question? Yes. All right. All those in favor of approving said motion, please signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed? Let's move on to number 4 there. Mr. Bowles, can you read that in for me?
Whereas Michael Vaughn is the owner of Watauga Creek District Substation, Plat 1, and whereas the proposed development is located inside the city limits at Southwest 4th Street and Genshaw Hill Road, and whereas the preliminary plat for the proposed development was approved on January 16, 2014, and whereas the required city departments have reviewed and commented on the proposed final plat, now therefore be resolved by the City of Prattville Planning Commission hereby gives it favorable review to the submit final plat of Watauga Creek District Substation, Plat 1. I so move.
Is there a second? Second by Mr. Nelson. Is there discussion? All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. Opposed? That is passed. Is there any miscellaneous business? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Adjourn.
Thank you.